Hi, and welcome to another in my ongoing experiment of interviewing amazing people in Pro AV and bringing their lessons learned to you. My name is Jeremy Birch, and I have the extreme pleasure today of introducing you to Alan Geer. He is head of a manufacturer rep firm, Audio Gear, located in Southern California. They are manufacturer reps for some of the biggest names that everyone knows, including Shure and QSC among those. And they are, he's built just a great company, and all of the employees that he's hired and I've dealt with over the years on the integrator side, and even now as a consultant, have been just top notch, really know their game, and really bring a lot of value to, um, to me as an integrator, and being just great sources of knowledge and boots on the ground guys. So, Alan, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's great to
Yeah,
be.
absolutely. Um, so, first and foremost, I kind of wanted to start with your backstory. What was the road that led you to create Audio Gear in the first place? And in that, why a manufacturer rep firm versus some other role in Pro AV, a distributor, integrator, or some other role in the market?
Good question. So, the I've been a rep, I guess technically since I was 15. So I'm 53 now, and the way that it started out, kind of not a unusual story. That uh, uh, my sister was dating a guy, and he was a rep of a bunch of guitars. He didn't play guitars, so she said, "Come over here." I was playing a little guitar, and she said, "Come over here. Look at this guy. He's got all these guitars." One thing led to another. I worked for him part time. I worked for him full time through high school and college. Um, and then after a few years, some of the manufacturers that we were representing kind of went knocking on my door and said, "Why don't you go do your own thing and we'll go with you?" So I worked out an agreement with him to kind of split off and start my own company. That was
Hmm.
25 years ago. So Audio Gear celebrates our 25th anniversary this year. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a very good road thus far, and so we represented a few very good brands. But about 21 years ago, a company called Shure came knocking on our door, and that's a big defining moment in a rep's career.
Yeah,
So we were lucky enough to pick up Shure, been the rep ever since. And once you get the Shure line, a lot of good other good opportunities come in. So
right.
yeah. So why a rep firm as opposed to a distributor or an integrator? Um, I didn't choose a rep firm, right? It wasn't my major in college, and I said that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go that direction, right? Like life,
Right.
sometimes it just lands in your lap. Although looking back and thinking about that a little bit, um, I love the lifestyle of it.
Hmm.
It's very much eat what you kill kind of lifestyle,
Uh-huh.
right? If you don't do something, nothing happens. So it takes a certain kind of person to be able to run with that.
Hmm.
Some insider information: the vast majority, and I mean 99.9% of reps out there, are on a 30-day contract with their manufacturers. It's not
Yeah.
a year, it's not 5 years, it's 30 days. If you do it good, you get to do it again next month. And if you
Hmm.
don't, it's right, off you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, with that being said, it's not necessary for the faint of heart. But if you get in there and you do the best you can do, and the communication is all that it should be, right? Here I am,
Yeah.
30 years later of being a rep, and I'm still standing, right? So,
Or sitting. Yeah.
exactly right. Sometimes laying down in exhaustion, whatever. But the couple of things about being a rep that I particularly like, it's very entrepreneurial, right?
Mm.
It's very much you pick up the lines you want, you don't pick up the lines you don't want, you craft that in whatever way you see fit. A lot of reps pick up lines just to pick up lines. Oh yeah, we're the rep
Mm.
for this and this and this, and it goes on, and pretty soon you got 50 lines, and you're not doing a really great service for any.
Yeah.
Audio here is particularly because when you have great lines like we have, and I mean, if you look at the categories each of these brands are in, they're kind of the leaders in each of their respective markets.
Right.
it affords us the opportunity to not have to pick up a bunch of lines, right?
Sure.
A
Sure.
handful of lines, they're top of their industry, and it allows us the ability to just hammer them and capture all that we can for them. So we're very
Yeah.
lucky in that fashion.
Hmm.
Uh,
Can
and
can you tell me what percentage of your business comes from just QSC and Shure together?
Oh, the two of them together versus
Yeah.
the rest?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I will tell you this, that I have sales staff, of course, and every year or every month they get a little pie chart that shows which lines are doing which.
Yeah. Yeah.
The QSC and Shure numbers have to be reduced by a factor of 10, or else the pie chart has these
Just
two
has no room for.
things here and a couple of pixels worth of stuff here. Not to say they're not valuable, but
No, absolutely.
it's very weighted.
Right, right. And to give them props, go ahead and tell everyone what the other lines are that you rep right now.
Oh gosh, what a terrible question to ask a rep.
Oh, okay. I know
um,
HOSA is one of them.
Hose is a big one. Yeah,
Right,
you know, the
right.
interesting thing about our brand, and I'll take you down the list in a moment, is that they allow us access and great access to all these different kinds of dealers and different channels. All right, so
Mm,
HOSA, cables, connectors, adapters,
yeah,
works for integrators, works for consumer kind of stores, you know, Bel Air Camera Shop and things like that.
yeah. And music stores.
Guitar Center, of course, is
Uh-huh.
huge in that. We do ClearComm, which speaks to
Hmm.
all those comm guys in theater and so
Right.
forth, broadcast.
Hmm.
Sure and
We're doing a
QSC.
project now with a intercom system, big
How about that?
auditorium. Yep.
Better be ClearComm.
It is.
Good. So, in any case, we do Zoom handheld recorders, which is an interesting thing because they are historically an MI kind of brand, but there's
Music
content.
industry. Am I?
Music industry, yeah, MI, thank you. They're MI music industry, but now they're branching out because that content creator, as we sit
Mm,
here making podcasts
yeah. Yeah.
and music videos and skateboarding things, right?
Right.
That guy's
Right.
everywhere. He's procuring his gear everywhere. He's becoming very knowledgeable about audio as it pertains to video and the need for high quality on both. So
Right.
the Zoom thing works very well.
Mm.
I'm getting out of order here. We do Furman power conditioning, uh,
Okay.
big
Okay.
big brand for us. It speaks to a lot of different markets.
Yeah.
We do Williams AV, which is assistive listening.
Yep.
They also have a variety of conferencing products and interpretation equipment as well. So
Okay.
very wide there. Um, damn, I should have printed out that line card, shouldn't I? um, Clearcom, Shure, Williams, Zoom. I'm gonna have to go to my website to see because I just. We should tell everybody that it's 6 o'clock in the morning here in California.
That's right. That's right. We're both super committed to our craft. So we're
That's exactly right, and our coffee, as it were.
that's right.
So what do you
While
think?
you're while you're doing that,
Good.
let me ask a related question about being a manufacturer rep. Do do a lot of people when they're interacting with your company or learning about your company, or maybe even just like folks who you are kind of already customers and should know already, do they get um, do they get you mixed up what you do, what your role is in regards to your manufacturers with like what the role of a distributor would be?
Yeah, and I will tell you, it's interesting. What we do is very unusual. When I try to, whether it's speaking to an end user,
Yeah.
a theater that we go out to help with some wireless configuration or what have you, or
Hmm.
whether I'm standing in the backyard of my neighbor's house at a neighborhood barbecue, trying to explain this unusual thing that I do for a living is very tough. Usual questions that you get are, "Oh, can you get me Bose?" Uh,
Right.
no, I can't get you Bose. Sorry. And
It
let
doesn't
me
work
spend a few
like
minutes talking about audio and QSC and speaker, right? I can't
right.
help
And
but
they're
go
like,
into
who's
full rep
QSC?
mode.
Yeah.
That's right. But anyway, so it is a little bit difficult because it's not usual. And I'll tell you just a quick little story, not to get too far off a track, but you hit an interesting point. Um, when we go out in the old days of being a rep, we would go to a dealer, whether it's a contractor, a rental company, a retailer, whatever, and we'd look at what they have and we'd show them some stuff and we'd leave some brochures, we'd be on our way.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we get a call from USC or from Mazda or from any one of these big companies, and
Yeah.
we'll say, well, let's come out. We're going to come out and we're going to visit with you. We're going to talk about what your application is. We're going to see if our products are right for you. We don't ever sell the product directly to these companies, but
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do is we want to capture that opportunity as best we can. And then once we decide, if they decide, we decide collectively that it's the right product for the application,
Mm-hmm.
then we will go ahead and hopefully make some recommendations as to who they could get to bid on it, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they need a consultant, to come in and fine tune the whole thing and really, take that direction.
Right, right. You can tell whether they really need some serious design help up front to figure out what they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, every project goes every direction under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So as we go out there, oftentimes the challenge is they think that we're a dealer. They just
Right.
think that we're a dealer and that we're ready to take their money, just write the check or whatever. So we'll oftentimes walk out and say, we're not a dealer. We work for the manufacturer. We couldn't take your money if you tried to give it to us. So we just want to qualify that, which becomes very sort of disarming. They go, really? I don't understand, but good, because I don't want any sales pressure. It allows us to really kind of dig into that.
Right. Kind of goes back to that people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold to adage.
That's exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got a reputation out there of saying, this is what we have, this is how it works, and this product may not be right, or you're paying for a lot of features that you just don't need, or what have you, and they appreciate that. So the hard part comes, and this is kind of the end game of this point, is when we as a rep go out there, we provide that demo, that service, that support, whatever it might be. And then because of how small the world's getting with the internet, they'll go online and buy it and bring in $100,000 worth of whatever, and then call us back and go, can you come down and train us? Well, you bought it from a catalog, right, in Idaho, and now, right? We always stand by our brands and do what is right, but it's interesting. This happens more and more often as the world gets smaller. So this is something we sort of are grappling with these days as reps, but so far, so good.
And I bet even your own customers, even integrators, sometimes get a little confused as to what you guys do, because all orders come through you guys for your brands, but yet the product doesn't. You don't have a warehouse. No product comes through your hands. Just the orders, right?
That's right. Yeah. But being the rep, most brands have distributors that are local. We handle every bit of business that these guys do. So if there's a integrator, that's our account. If there's a distributor, that's our account. So we know for a fact, or generally speaking, have a very good feel for, this guy needs 10 of these. The factory only has 2, but we do know that we were there last week and distributor B has 9, so that's our thing, right? Everything's a square peg in a round hole, and we kind of pride ourselves on putting that all
being
together.
a woodworker. Yeah.
That's right, absolutely. So we call it job security. Right?
That's right.
They don't have it, was supposed to ship, didn't ship, whatever, that's okay. We can put out the fire. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I should probably go back just real fast to the other brands, if you don't mind. So QSC Zoom, we talked about, community loudspeakers, right? Worldwide brand, really a wonderful company to work with.
Yeah.
Hosa we talked about, Furman we talked about, Williams we talked about. Allen and Heath, cannot forget about Allen and Heath, right?
How can you? Yeah.
Digital console, right? Doing very well there. And then the newest edition is a Tech, which is
beautiful Bluetooth products.
Absolutely. And really, when it comes to QSC and the QSys ecosystem that they've created, which just works so well for audio, video, control, etc.
Right.
The Tech provides all these. It's kind of like QSys is the Christmas tree, and a Tech are all the ornaments, right? It's just how do you get in and out, and so it works very well.
Right. Well, you'll be very happy to know. I just got back from a 24-hour trip up to San Jose yesterday, and while I was there, I squeezed in a visit to Zoom's headquarters.
Very good.
Not the Zoom that makes the cameras that you rep, but Zoom.
Zoom we're on right now.
Right. That everyone's using, that we're using for this recording right now, for this interview, and I've never seen so many conference rooms with only an iPad on the table, like only an iPad, not a cable pulled to the table, nothing hanging from the ceiling, Zippo,
Yeah,
just flat panels on the walls and an iPad on the table. They dial from that,
and a
and
microphone in the
they've
ceiling.
got they've got the Shure ceiling mic array, the MXA 910, in
Yep,
almost every room.
I love that.
And um, of course, being an AV guy, I had to peek since the TVs were on articulating arms, and we could peek behind there to see where they put the figure out how they were processing the Dante from those. And
Hmm.
it was a QSC Core 110F.
How about that?
So yeah,
It's
yep,
become a
and
pretty powerful combination. We're very lucky to rep these brands because they
yeah,
go together very nicely these days.
yeah, yeah. Um, you mentioned in our pre-interview your motto is show up early and pay attention to details, all
Yeah.
of them, and you said that has set you up for a lot of success in your business. But I want to kind of start with the first part of that. Show up early. What can, talk to me about your morning ritual and how that part sets you up for success, and then we'll talk about the detailed part next.
Well, we'll start out on that aspect uh, with the framework that I'm a screwy individual. I get up early. I always have. When I was young, high school playing in bands, you get in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and for whatever reason, 6:30, I'm up. The rest of the band, my friends are sleeping until 2 in the afternoon. My whole family's that way. Just like the morning a lot. So that has actually helped many of the brands that I've represented over the years have
Hmm.
been East Coast, which works great.
Okay.
Although I will tell you, Jeremy, if you send an email to someone at 7 o'clock in the morning, they go, "Wow, this guy's driven." You send an email at 4:30, they call you and they're like, "Bro, are you okay?" Right?
Seven
And
o'clock, you're driven. 4:30, you're crazy.
I sent a couple emails at 10 minutes till 5 this morning. They arrived to my friends in Chicago before they were there, so I'm expecting them to call and go, "Really, buddy?" you know? But they say the early bird gets the worm. I'm a firm believer in that.
Right. Do
Yep.
you have a ritual that you go through every morning to kind of, I mean, more than just like, you know, get up, check email for any fires, you know, grab the morning coffee. Do you have anything that you would call unique in your morning ritual that you go through
You know
per
something?
se?
I won't. I'm working on that.
Okay.
I wake up, my office is about 5 blocks from my home. So I wake up without an alarm. That's kind of an important thing is I don't need an alarm to wake me up at 4:30. It just happens. But I get to the office, I make the coffee. We have a treadmill desk there.
Mm. Okay, cool.
So that's an important tool. It's quite in demand. So I get in there and for a good hour and a half to 2 hours, I'll do my email while I'm walking on the treadmill.
Yeah,
The main thing to me is that it's quiet time. It's time
sure.
to think, which probably leads into the second part of your question about detail.
Yeah, yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's times when I can't arrive at the office at 5 or whatever time in the morning. I get there at 8 or 8:30 or 9, and to
Mm.
walk into an office of 15 people already, cylinders
Phones
firing, stuff
buzzing.
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And generally, what happens is a line forms at my door, not literally, but sometimes literally, right, of
Right.
things that people want to talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
that means that all my stuff is being put to the side, and I'm
Right.
happy to help them. I'm really customer service for them for all these folks, and I'm happy to be. Um, but it puts all my stuff on the back
Back.
burner.
Yep.
I much prefer to get there in the morning, say, here's who I am, here's what today looks like, here's the big fires that are out, and then the troops start arriving and the flow works well. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Can you give me an example of a detail that you pay attention to that you think maybe most business owners don't?
Hmm. Um, yes, and I will tell you some of them are silly, but perhaps it's more what I'm going to point out is more a method of how you think about things than I'll give you a couple of silly
In the thing
examples.
itself?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. To me,
I've heard it said that it's the problem is not the problem, The problem is how you think about the problem.
That's exactly right. That is such a wonderful way to put that, because
Yeah.
to me, it's more of a way of life. That sounds corny because it's not a religion to me, but I do look at all these things and go, what's the extra, couple of dB I can throw at this that will really help, that'll make something work.
Right.
I'll give you an example. One of my manufacturers sent me a calendar invite for a call we had yesterday, and the topic of the meeting request was talk with Alan. Well, on my calendar, that's just talk with Alan. And I'm looking at this going, I don't know who this is. So it forced me to open that up, look and go, oh, it's Frank Johnson or whoever it was, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't help but go, hey, just so you know, to me, right, it's a conversation with you. With you, it's a conversation to me. Let's put both names in there. Or sort of a pet peeve of mine is when manufacturers will work out sales numbers, which they send me all the time. I really just spend half my day in Excel these days, and they'll call it audio gear sales.
Mm.
Oh, okay, well, I'm pretty good at filing and organizing, but it's audio gear sales to you, but to me, it's brand ABC.
Right.
Right? It doesn't. So I put it into a folder called audio gear sales, and I'm screwed because I'm never going to find that thing.
Right.
So those are silly little examples, but to me, it's indicative of just that level of thought, and
Right.
as you go down the road, and if you apply that kind of perspective to everything you do, what does it mean to that guy? To that guy, I'll give you one little example. I got a call from my daughter last night who said, I'm trying to get something for a birthday present for someone. She's got everything. I don't know what to get her. Okay, classic need to put on your thinking cap. What's she like? What's she about? Well, she's a vegan and there was all these kind of details that would allow you to arrive at a gift, but you have to burn the calories to arrive there.
Right.
And so a birthday present, what would they like to have that maybe they wouldn't afford themselves? It doesn't have to be expensive, right?
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thought process that I apply to a variety of things, or try to apply to everything in my life.
Right.
That I don't think any one of them is a home run. I think it's an aggregate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
taken
anyway,
together.
I go on and on.
That's great. No, I like it. I want to kind of transition a little bit here with sort of a conversational palate cleanser and ask you a question that's completely non-business related. But you, because I know you a little bit personally, you drive a car that a lot of people would like to drive, right? You have your Tesla still, right?
Really? Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you, as someone who's never driven in one, what is something about owning or driving a Tesla, just the whole ecosystem, what you've learned, since having one, that you think most people don't really realize about Tesla or driving one? Or
Well, is it the electric car aspect, or is it specifically the Tesla brand that you're inquiring about?
either or.
So
Yeah.
I will tell you, it bothers me, not really bothers me, but to be identified as the Tesla guy, and I am, and I own it. I guess I wear it, but I'll be in a sales meeting and they'll go, this new product is for the guy that drives the Tesla, right? Alan Geer, where's Alan? And
Oh
I'll,
gosh.
no, right? And here we are, right, in an
Yeah.
interview, and the damn word comes up again. No problem. I made my bed, and it's a wonderful product. I will tell you, so we'll remove the Tesla aspect from it,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about the electric car aspect of it. Because
Sure.
I'm a firm believer, honestly, I can't wait for Chevy or Ford to come out with like an electric Tahoe. That would be more conducive to me, but I'll never drive a gas car again. So I'll spin it back around to the benefits
Yeah.
of electric car.
Okay.
I have solar panels on my roof,
Uh-huh.
which is wonderful. I have an electric car. It's horribly convenient to go home and plug it into the wall and wake up in the morning to a full tank.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
nice thing.
Right.
It's wonderful to almost never have to touch the brakes, right? Because it's regenerative. They actually don't use. I think a Prius uses brake pads to recharge the battery. Tesla
Yes,
doesn't.
I was taking an Uber while I was in San Jose. Someone picked me up in a hybrid, and I could
Yeah,
see that on the display, the
yeah,
kind of synergy between battery, drivetrain, and engine. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So the way that they do it is with brakes, right? The way that Tesla does it is something they do with the motor. They you flip the phase on the motor. Something happens where, and I don't have to touch the brakes. I can set up the sensitivity as to how aggressively it slows down the car.
so kind of how much drag it has in
That's ex-
take your foot off the gas.
that's exactly right.
Oh
So
wow,
I don't think that it puts a lot of energy back into the battery, but it
hmm,
allows me to never use my brakes. I mean, I almost never
interesting.
use my brakes. I just, you learn how your car handles,
Yeah,
and it just becomes second nature. So, uh, I like that aspect of it. So when you go back to the electric car thing, there's just a lot of um, aspects to it that are way better, in my opinion, than traditional cars. Um, I have to quote Elon Musk. He said something to the effect of, with all the technology in the world and all that human beings have done in terms of medicine and whatever, it's surprising that humans haven't come to the conclusion that we've outgrown the usefulness of the internal combustion engine. Like
mm,
that's so, 100 years ago. Why are we still doing that when and to me,
yeah,
the infrastructure of gas stations, right? We're creatures of
ex-
habit. It's all there.
exactly.
Yeah, charging cars takes time, but to me,
Right.
it's absolutely worth it. So
Oh, nice.
I'll tip it right there.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Do you find that places that have the supercharging stations are are usually available, or these more and more as time goes on, they're just as jam packed as gas stations?
Oh, yeah. It really depends on the days and the times and where
Okay.
you're going. Uh,
Okay.
but Tesla's done an extraordinary job at just, driving to Vegas used to be a challenge because there was
Hmm.
8 slots, halfway there.
Yeah.
Now there's 200 slots.
Really?
They realize, yeah, yeah, they realize that corridor is a busy one, and they just
Oh,
populated. They fortified it with so many. Uh,
interesting.
yeah, but they've done a great job at that. And the nice part is when you go somewhere, I will typically put an address. It'll show me how to get there, and it'll say,
Hmm.
so my car gets about 320 miles range. If
Yeah.
I'm going farther, that'll say you should stop here, which happens to be next to a Starbucks or whatever. You charge for 10 minutes, and it'll tell
Right.
you if the stalls are open or not. So I
Nice.
haven't gotten into a big challenge thus far, but about 99% of the driving I do is
It's just
smoothly
local.
handled by
Right.
charging the car overnight anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, I learned something. Thank you. That was good. Um, so back on business, I want to transition to talking about a challenge that you face, and we talked about this before the interview. Right? No, nobody wants to hear someone's story that's all rosy. We know we're all human, and we've all had challenges, and we just want to hear other people's and so talk to me. You said that when I asked you what's one of your favorite failures that you learned from and rose from, you said losing half your staff to uh, a competitor. Is that right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tell
exactly
tell
right.
me tell me about tell me that story um, and then we'll kind of get into sort of what you learned as a result of finding your way back out of that.
Sure. So I was approached about 15 years ago from a very good worldwide brand to be their rep.
Hmm.
The problem is, as reps, we manage conflict. If I
Yeah.
have QSC amplifiers, I can't pick up another amplifier manufacturer, right? It doesn't work that way. So you have to be very careful with how that configuration works of different products and different markets, et cetera. This manufacturer came to me and said, "We want you to be the rep." And I said, "Wow, you make loudspeakers and amplifiers and mixers, and like, I'd have to resign this and this and this and this and this, and thanks, but no thanks." Shook their hand and sent them on their way.
Hmm.
And I don't think it was a surprise to them. They knew that the math just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So they went out to the territory and they looked at other reps, and they I guess couldn't find the right fit. So they went to one of my guys that worked for me at the time and said, "Why don't you just split off and start your own company?" I said, "Wow, okay. And why don't you take a couple other guys with you? Because we hear you guys do a great job." So
Oh man.
they kind of assembled this little coup. And
Yeah.
ironically enough, I had gone on vacation for a week. I came back to these guys walk into the office, which was about 6 o'clock in the morning, by the way. So there I am with my coffee, walking on my treadmill or
Oh
whatever.
my
And they
gosh.
all
Yeah.
walk in and they drop down these letters of resignation, and half my company walked out the door. This was
Holy
not
cow.
a hostile thing. It was not a mean thing. They weren't taking my lines with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't fault them for it, right? It's just business. But I saw that coming, and they started their company, and of course they knew, having worked for me for many years, where
Mm-hmm.
all the bodies were buried, who all the customers were, what the programs were, right?
Right.
Had some
Right. And
serious
kind of how
intel
to
on
run
the
the business
situation.
from a,
Um,
yeah.
as time went on, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. And kind of how to run the business from a secondhand view, watching you do it too.
The whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was, and having half your company, because we were 8 at that time, walk
Mm-hmm.
out the door simultaneously was
Oh,
like, oh my gosh, how do I do this?
yeah.
Um, I have always been, we spoke about my level of detail. If you
Mm-hmm.
go back 10 or 15 years, my level of detail was actually quite a bit higher. Perhaps my management style was a little rougher, right? Because I want it to be right, and this is how it works, and da da da. So my level of detail was higher. My delivery probably wasn't as good as it is now, having been a principal for many years.
Right.
So one thing that I learned is, you just can't have half your company walk out the door and not have some rough edges come from it.
Sure.
Where that thing didn't happen, and we haven't called on that guy, and nobody got back to him about this or that, and oh my gosh, the wheels are coming off the cart. Guess what? Nobody ever complained.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that there were complaints we didn't know about, right?
Yeah.
And when I mean nobody ever complained, I mean the manufacturers never called and said, "What's going on with your sales? What's going on with your this,
You're
that, or
really
the other?"
slipping. What's going on, Alan? Yeah.
That's exactly right. So it was a bit of a therapeutic move where I said, "Wow, I have gotten here in the morning and really dug in deep about all these little things, the minutia, the big stuff, the small stuff, and everything in between. And maybe I don't have to burn quite that hot. Maybe I can
Yeah.
take it down a few dB, right? They're going to be happy. I'm going
Yeah.
to be happy. Perhaps the employees will be a little bit happier.
Right.
Win-win all the way around,
Right.
So that
Right.
was
Because we
kind of the
lost half our staff, and we're still keeping our manufacturers happy. So yeah.
yeah. Never got a customer call of, "Hey, I haven't seen you." Nobody ever got back to me. Nothing. Now, granted, the people that were still there were an enormous resource and asset, and team members where they just stayed until the calls were done, until the orders were placed. And so
Mm,
kudos to them, many of which are still there today.
that's great.
Yeah, but no customer ever called and complained. No manufacturer ever called and complained. So it was kind of a nice awakening of, okay, things can be a little looser than I'm doing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's more of
Yeah.
a lifestyle thing to me, right?
Hmm.
Take a breath, smell the roses, have some coffee, and then get back to work.
Right. 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 Oh wow. Very
Yeah.
cool. Um, that's amazing. Um, so last question I want to ask you is, because you have the unique position of having visibility of all the orders for some of the biggest brands, and that almost every integrator in your territory uses, I would think. Almost every pro AV integrator, I'll say. Um, they're going to use at least QSC and Shure at a bare minimum. Um, do you ever see integrators placing like rush orders for little parts that they forgot in their original order? Um, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay.
I think I know what you're driving at, and the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
And to me, I've often, being a rep, we're a middleman. And
Yeah.
that comes with a lot of noise, comes with a lot of responsibility. It also comes with a lot of opportunity because we're problem solvers.
Sure.
People will place orders and we'll say, you're ordering these speakers in black. Didn't we talk about white? Oh my gosh, thank you. You're ordering with transformers. You wanted 8 ohm, didn't you? Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
We take pride in knowing these little details.
Right.
You're ordering 2 8-inch loudspeakers with an amplifier that puts out 4,000 watts. Can we help you with that? Right? and that kind of question comes up in so many ways. Whether it's please ship this to arrive tomorrow. Oh, okay. Well, this ships from New York and it's 3 p.m. and it's not getting there tomorrow, right? I mean,
right.
we get it from a distributor. We can help. We have a sample. Let's loan you. Or
right.
I often folks and the sales guys and admin staff that every one of these problems, while they can be very aggravating, because the same thing, we're humans, right? We'll make the mistake and we'll run right back into the same wall again. These are opportunities. This is why we're here. As soon as the integrator, the music retailer, whomever, figures it all out and operates at 100% accuracy and efficiency, which of course is never going to happen,
right.
and the manufacturers have it down to a science, have it all in stock and can ship it just real time, never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the butt. It's also job security.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So that's a real fast.
Either from Shure or QSC's line, if you could, of a small piece like an accessory that goes with a larger sort of tentpole kind of product that people kind of often forget. Is there a?
There's quite a few of them. Mounting brackets for loudspeakers.
Okay.
Big one. Where you need these loudspeakers, great. How are you going to mount them? Oh, yeah, throw in some mounts. No. Do you need a mount or do you need a U bracket or right? So that happens a lot. Shure is a little bit different because microphones, right?
Yeah.
So typically microphone, clip, bag, in the box, ready to go.
Done.
A bigger challenge is when people try to order transmitters by themselves, but don't identify what frequency they're on.
Yeah.
So you call them and you go, hey, you want this QLXD transmitter? What frequency? It doesn't matter. Whatever. Just ship it. It's like, no.
Kind of does.
Right, exactly. So I would say that
zip code of the customer. We'll help you out. We'll figure it out. We'll run it through the frequency finder for you.
That's exactly right. And anyway, so it's not just the parts and pieces that sometimes they forget. There's a million ways for them to forget. And to me, that's the value we can bring to this is stop, take a breath. This is what we need. These are the answers. Let's spend a little bit of extra time to get this right.
Right.
And even though sometimes people are rushed, they do appreciate that. When we just kind of say, stop the presses, I know, but an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Right.
That should be like painted across the audio gear wall as our motto. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, this has been cool. I've had a lot of fun, Alan. I'm glad we were able to eventually get you on. Where is on social media? Where is the best place to connect with you? Where do you hang out the most?
Ooh, well, me personally or audio gear?
Personally, if people want to get a hold of you, there's obviously the email and you can give that out. But if someone wants to connect with you, Alan, on social media, where would you recommend they go?
Instagram would be
okay.
Yeah, I will tell you that I'm not a huge social guy. I had a Facebook account. I think I still do. I don't think I've been there, and my kids always give me a little grief. Like if I do open up, they'll go, "Dad, you have 537 notifications." I go, close tab.
Nope, I don't feel like it anymore.
Yeah, I'm a musician since our kids have gone away to college. I began playing guitar a lot, which I kind of took a back seat as I started a company 25 years ago, and the kids and so forth. Now they're off to college, so I'm playing more. And I find that when I get home, or any other time, kind of the last thing I want to do is stare at a computer screen on my phone and keeping, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I did that for 8 hours, 10 hours today. That's enough. Give me my guitar. That's where my,
Okay.
So, but Instagram is a good one. Certainly Audio Gear for professional stuff. To send me emails that way is a great
Yeah,
one.
what's your Audio Gear email?
It's Alan, Alan, at Audio Gear, and Gear like my last name with 2 E's,
Mm-hmm.
Alan at audiogear.com.
Okay, and we'll link up your Instagram account in the notes on
And I
this.
will tell you, I would appreciate that because while I have taken a backseat on the social media thing personally a little bit, Audio Gear is in full swing. We're doing a lot of things on the social media front in terms of, open box videos to product technical discussions and things like that. So I
Nice.
appreciate people following us and subscribing. That's
Nice. Absolutely. And I'll share this video when it posts, and you can link to it or use it as wherever you want.
I would like that very much. Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, great. All right. Well, thanks for spending a few minutes of your precious me time in the morning with me and with the audience.
I'm happy to. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later, Alan.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.